Hey guys, this is Pooka and welcome to another Pokemon TCG deck featuring cards from the brand new set XY Flashfire. Today we're going to be looking at a deck that revolves around two new cards from the brand new set. Those are going to be Shiftry and Milotic. So this is kind of a unique deck. Both cards have very unique aspects to them, which makes this a very interesting deck and a pretty cool one, if I might say so. So Shiftry is a Stage 2 Grass Pokemon with 140 HP. We don't see Stage 2 attacking Pokemon be very successful, but Shiftry may change that. It has a nice ability, Leaf Draw. Once during your turn, you may discard a Grass Energy to draw 3 cards. This is kind of similar to Empoleon's Diving Draw, where you get to discard a card and draw 2 cards, but here you have to discard a Grass Energy and you draw 3 cards. So this is a nice way to boost your draw every turn. Drawing 3 extra cards is pretty cool. Then it's also very similar to Empoleon's attack command. Of course, Empoleon does 10 for each Pokemon in play. Deranged Dance does 20 times the number of benched Pokemon. So at first you might think, oh man, that's not very good. Your opponent can just control how much damage you do. It's not really worth it. But that's not exactly true. 20 times the number of benched Pokemon is actually pretty significant. For example, if you have 5 benched Pokemon and your opponent only has 2 benched Pokemon, that's already 140 damage. And hey, we just happen to be playing Silver Bangle as well. That would add 30 damage to your attacks against Pokemon EX. So if your opponent only has 2 benched Pokemon and you have a Silver Bangle, Shiftry knocks out a Pokemon EX in one hit. Of course, if they have more benched Pokemon than that, you're doing even more damage. Sometimes it is difficult to limit your bench down to just 2 spots, so this damage actually adds up very quickly. Now unfortunately, Shiftry's attack does cost 1 grass and 2 colorless energy, which means it's going to take a couple energy attachments to power it up, and it can be very difficult to keep getting attackers going if they keep getting knocked down. You just don't have enough energy attachments to go around to power up Shiftry every turn. That's where the other the other Pokemon comes in. Apparently Milotic is a person now, but Milotic is our other Pokemon that we're going to work with. Now this has the ability Energy Grace. You can knock out Milotic, which is normally a bad thing, but the payoff is pretty good. You get 3 basic energy cards from your discard pile and attach them to one of your Pokemon. That's pretty darn good. Sometimes you will gladly sacrifice a prize for 3 energy. And this is one of those cases. Now this has some good synergy with Leaf Draw here, since you discard Grass Energy to draw 3 cards, and then we can use Energy Grace to simply get them back. And then, voila, a Shiftry is all powered up. So these 2 cards work pretty well together. The only thing that backfires is that you do have to knock it out, so you do lose a benched Pokemon, so it becomes more difficult to use Deranged Dance, but hey, it's pretty much worth it. Milotic also has an attack, Waterfall. 1 water and 2 colorless energy does 60. It's not a very good attack, but we will run 1 water energy just to use it, just in case, because with the Silver Bangle it's doing 90 damage against any Pokemon EX, and a Charizard EX will actually be knocked out by a Waterfall with the Silver Bangle. So it seems worth it to just run 1 water energy, just in case that might happen. These 2 Pokemon are the heart of the deck. Shiftry is the main attacker, and then Milotic is just kind of the support Pokemon in this case. We do have some other Pokemon in here as well. We have Dusknoir. Now, this might not seem to make much sense at first. You know, this is not a deck like a Trevenant Excelgor deck where you want to be moving damage around all the time, or a Flygon Dusknoir deck, but you won't always be able to knock something out in one hit with Shiftry. Sometimes your opponent can limit the amount of damage you do, and in those cases you're going to be doing something like 100 or 120 damage. And then when you attack a second time, you're going to be doing overkill, right? You're going to be doing more damage than you need to get the knockout. Well, that's where Dusknoir can come in handy. It can conserve some of that damage. Say you're going up against a Pokemon with 170 HP, and you hit it for 120 damage with the first Deranged Dance. Well, you only need to do 50 more to knock it out. So we can actually move a bunch of that damage away, and then next time we attack, we'll definitely get a knockout. So Dusknoir has some, it has some decent synergy with Shiftry, it's worth playing, I would think. You also have one Druddigon. This is just a very solid attacker for 2 energy. Revenge can do 90 damage. Very good against anything weak to dragon. It will knock out anything weak to dragon in 1 hit, 180 damage. That's pretty good. We have one Virizion EX with Verdant Wind. If your Pokemon has a grass energy, can't be affected by special conditions. Just seems like a card you want to throw in to a deck that's already playing grass energy. And then one Jirachi EX as well. Stellar Guidance allows you to search for a supporter card. Now, this deck is very difficult to build. You need Stage 2 Pokemon, you need some damage enhancers like Silver Bangle, and we also play a Muscle Band as well. You need the Milotic, you need a lot of basic Pokemon so that you can keep using Deranged Dance. So you have to kind of cut corners somewhere, and the area we're kind of cutting corners is the searching cards. It's not a big deal. We only have 2 Level Ball and 2 Ultra Ball. Most decks run maybe 5 or 6 searching cards. We're only running 4, because that's all we can really find space for. And then we are a little light on supporters as well. We just have 4 Skyla, 4 N, 2 Chorus, 1 Professor Juniper, and then 2 Tropical Beach. That's a total of, I would say, about 13 draw cards with the Tropical Beach, and then 13 and a half if you want to count Dowsing Machine. But the reason we could get away with this is because of Shiftry's Leaf Draw. Once we get a Shiftry into play, we start drawing a bunch more cards, and things start flowing a little bit better. So it's just the hurdle of getting that first Shiftry in play. We also run Jirachi EX to search for a supporter as well. So the deck seems to work pretty fine the way it is right now. One Professor Juniper might seem very strange to most people, but this is a deck where you need to conserve your resources quite a bit, so discarding your hand, not always a great idea. If you have to end up discarding a Muscle Band or a Silver Bangle, that can really come back to bite you. Otherwise, we have 4 Rare Candy, just allows us to skip a stage, go to C-Dot, from C-Dot to Shiftry, or from Duskull to Dusknoir. Pretty standard card in any Stage 2 deck. We also have 1 Startling Megaphone, discard all Pokemon tools, attached to each of your opponent's Pokemon, a Super Rod to help us recover some Pokemon and energy. Professor's Letter allows us to search for 2 basic energy cards, extremely good card. Escape Rope just needs some kind of switching card, since Dusknoir does have a high retreat cost, and it's always nice to have some kind of switching card in your deck. And then 1 Big Bad Lysander, which is basically Pokemon Catcher in the form of a supporter. And I feel like a lot of decks should be running one of these. Otherwise, the energy just 7 Grass, and then the 1 Water we looked at earlier, and 4 double colorless energy. I'm not sure how well this deck will do. Fire Pokemon give it a bit of fits, because, well, Shiftry's weak to fire. So if Charizard and Pyroar end up being good enough to be played in large amounts, Shiftry may not be worth using, but otherwise it may have some potential, and it's definitely something I want to try out a little bit more. So let's take a look at Shiftry in action. We'll see how the big bad leaf Pokemon can do. Looks like we're going up against Carlos Duran Jr., and we're going to open up with a C-Dot. Also have a Tropical Beach in hand, but this is a pretty scary hand. C-Dot only has 50 HP, so it can be knocked out turn 2 pretty easily. Or turn 1 if you're playing first, and your opponent gets to attack going second. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen here. We do see a Level Ball for a Swirlix, and then we have a Spritzy on the bench and a Xerneas EX already. So this is some form of an Aromatisse deck, clearly. But I don't know, we'll see how this goes. I am faced with a strange hand here. I have a couple of ends. We have a Skyla and a Tropical Beach. And then C-Dot also has Call for Family, which allows us to search for a Pokemon and put it on the bench. So I might just try to fill my bench up with basics right here. I'm going to go ahead and Skyla for the Level Ball. Just go ahead and get another basic Pokemon and then Call for Family. It doesn't look like I'm in any immediate danger of being knocked out. I do see Xerneas EX though, so if I'm going to get a Phoebus down, I need to do it right now. Breakthrough does do 30 to a benched Pokemon, so I'm going to go ahead and get that down right now. and then go for a call for family, grab a second C-Dot, and then get that onto the bench. Seems like a good idea. If I can evolve that Phoebus before it gets knocked out by Breakthrough, that'll be, well, pretty good. I would like to have access to Milotic at some point to Energy Grace and get some Energy Acceleration. So we do see a pretty explosive start from my opponent. We see all sorts of weird stuff, though. We see a Latias EX, a Kecleon, Aromatisse, and Slurpuff. So I'm not really sure what to expect here. I will just go ahead and then attach to the bench C-Dot. I don't expect to really get a Shiftry this turn. I do get to evolve the Milotic, thankfully. We'll put down Duskull, and I could put down another Phoebus as well. Might not be a terrible idea. Although Xerneas or Darkrai could definitely take advantage of the 30 HP guy on the bench. But you know, if my opponent decides to do that, I could just get a Shiftry. And my opponent has filled his bench. So that's an easy knockout for Shiftry. Deranged Dance does a ton of damage. So I don't know. Now, Latias EX is very annoying because it has the ability, I can't remember what it's called, something down, something like that, but basically it prevents all effects of attacks, including damage done to it by Pokemon that have abilities. And Shiftry happens to have an ability, which is bad news, because Shiftry can't hurt Latias EX. Luckily, Druddigon deals with this very well, so if we're able to get Druddigon going and Revenge and just knock out that Latias EX, that's a big win for me, I think. So we're going to see if we can pull that off this turn. I had a Tropical Beach again last turn after a Super Rod. Things didn't go very well. And alright, I did draw a Skyla. That means we can get Druddigon out this turn. And we will be able to, at the very least, Energy Grace, knock out Milotic, and then get the 2 energy on Druddigon. And then wipe out a lot of my opponent's energy, which is a very good thing. You know, these Aromatisse decks definitely play on, you know, they struggle when they lose all their energy, right? The name of the game for Aromatisse is conserving energy. Move it around, max potion, things like that. But when your Pokemon get knocked out in one hit, then it really struggles. And anytime you can knock out a Pokemon with 3 energy, it's a big win. So I do get the Druddigon here. We'll go ahead and Ultra Ball for that. Rare Candy into Shiftry, and then Leaf Draw. We're going to get another energy in the discard pile, so we can Energy Grace. But hey, or I can just draw that double colorless. That works as well. And now, just like that, Revenge. 180 damage. And that's a big knockout on that Latias EX. And all of a sudden, the prizes are tied. We took down that big obstacle. And that's just showing the utility of Druddigon as just an extremely good, well, revenge attacker. Especially against Dragon-type Pokemon. Like that Latias EX that would normally give this deck a lot of trouble. Look, just one little basic Pokemon like Druddigon completely changed this game. Now my opponent's down to 1 energy in play, now 2. Deciding to go with something a little crazy here. A Muscle Band onto Kecleon, and it will use Im-Attack to copy Revenge and get a knockout on Druddigon. What is happening here? This is some crazy stuff in this game. My opponent's playing a wacky deck, definitely. Now, I do have the option to Energy Grace this turn, and you can see why Milotic is actually going to be very useful in this kind of a deck. We're going to use Energy Grace, go ahead and knock it out, and get those 3 energy on to Shiftry. Pretty darn good, I would say. We can then attach to a benched C-Dot. I don't really think I need to bother with a startling Megaphone there. I'm going to be knocking out that Pokemon anyway. And then Deranged Dance for 180 damage since my opponent has benched so many Pokemon. And now, I mean, we were getting destroyed at the start. Didn't take long to come back, did it? Druddigon here, a Shiftry there, and a bunch of one-hit knockouts, and we are right back into this game. And my opponent still has to find a way to take 2 prizes. I mean, I'm not really sure what his plan is at this point, but I did see a Kyogre EX, so a Dual Splash could knock out 2 C-Dot at once. That would be pretty annoying. I'm going to go ahead and Professor's Letter, see what we have left. And hopefully we can just get a Pokemon or a Silver Bangle to bench, or a Lysander would be alright too. To, get another... get a knockout on the Aromatisse perhaps, but it looks like I missed all of that. I could Juniper and just try to kind of reach for another basic Pokemon, but if I did that, I would have to discard my whole hand, which means all of my energy, and that's not good. So I think I have to settle here for a Deranged Dance for 160, and that's really annoying. That is super annoying that we're 20 short. Muscle Band, Silver Bangle, or even a basic Pokemon. All of those would have been good right there, but nope. Looks like that's not happening. So we do see my opponent has to pass a turn after that. I'm going to go ahead and use Leaf Draw. Draw 3, and once again, we don't find a basic Pokemon. We don't find a Muscle Band. We don't find Silver Bangle. My goodness, not even the Dowsing Machine. This is drawing remarkably poorly. And I'm going to have to try to find something to do here. I could N, but then I'd only get 3 cards. I could Juniper. Again, that's probably not a good idea. I think the safest route here is to Lysander. We can take out the Aromatisse and cut off the energy movement my opponent may try to go for. So that seems like the right thing to do at this point. We'll just Lysander, target down Aromatisse, and then all of my opponent's energy are stranded, can't go anywhere, and I'll be happy with that. I still just have to knock out one big EX to win the game after that. So let's go with the Deranged Dance. This also cuts off that Kyogre EX that we saw. No dual splashing here. And we do see another Spritzy coming down, but again, just one EX knockout, and we should get the victory in this game. I do have to watch out for that Kyogre EX, though. I need to... I assume my opponent might sacrifice the Slurpuff, the non-EX right there. But, nope, looks like Darkrai's coming out. Not sure why my opponent's doing that. But at this point, it does seem like a game over. And, hey, Silver Bangle, nice to see you. We can just bench that Jirachi, and then Deranged Dance, 210 damage with that Silver Bangle. And you can see Shiftry is a very, very powerful card. It's just a matter of, can you get it up and running quickly enough? And can you get enough of them going? I don't know. Maybe there is some merit to Shiftry in the future. It all depends on what other Pokemon are played. If there's fire Pokemon, we probably won't see Shiftry. Otherwise, hey, as you can see here, it's a pretty powerful card. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will certainly have some more for you soon. I am Pooka from the Top Cut, and I will see you guys next time.